Yeah, thank you, Hendrik, for introduction. When I first being received for invitation, I suddenly think about the space. Indeed, it's very much special regarding Hong Kong because you can say Hong Kong have a lot of public space because only 30% of the land was used for habitats. But while at the same time, you can say Hong Kong have no private place because it's so congested and the so-called the unit of living space is so small. And when we think about private public space or the space related to health, I would think about indeed space stand for something to me. It's about social justice, it's about public health, it's about active living, it's about co-design, about the ownership, about whether the citizen can participate in making the city really truly their living space. And of course, all of this is related to equity. Maybe some of you already visit Hong Kong and familiar with the harbor and the so congested high-rising building environment. And to recap, the latest population now is 7.5 million. And when you look carefully into it with microscope, I think one of the slides have been shared by Hedrick is there are quite a lot of people indeed is living in this kind of, I would say, very innovative way because they are really forced to live in such a way in order to create space for themselves in such a small area. And in Hong Kong, we either call them coffin space or subdivided unit. And actually, there are more than 116,000 households is living in that kind of condition. And maybe you think Hong Kong is the highest dense area in the world, but from my recent look in the internet, I found that indeed Macau, our neighbors, is the highest. But what we are wanting to talk today is related to health. And when someone also think about Hong Kong, one thing special is we have the, now being #1 in the world to have a, I don't know whether I like the term enjoy longevity. But about quality of life, I think is another things. But in order to live long, really money is very important. But in Hong Kong, I think the survey have already pointed out, maybe it's also similar in other countries or cities, is for the poor households, their household expenditure on average on those essential items related to health, like food, living space, housing, education, healthcare, chance to recreation, culture, get in touch with culture and to access to those services is much higher than the average. And the poverty rate in Hong Kong, indeed, although it's a very, the GDP is quite high, but the poverty rate is really also eye-catching. What does this mean in terms of health? My organization is serving working poor ethnic minorities, and we have some data to show that this population on average regarding their BMI, hypertension, diabetes is on average much higher than the general Hong Kong population. And this may be also similar in other cities, but one thing which we think is quite important is a lot of them indeed is not familiar with those public service that can have subsidy with local community resources that they can get in touch with. And this is something which I think is really also quite astonished to me because in this small city, the communication and also those kind of, you can say, online platform is so popular. Everyone is using smartphone, but still, we have vulnerable group, underprivileged group cannot get those information. Indeed, internationally, in UN, there is some treaty or agreement showing that it is the right of everyone to enjoy the highest attainable standard of physical and mental health. And government should commit to do something on that. Maybe you will say all of this is belong to the duty of health workers, but I can tell you it's not only the commitment of our health workers, because in order to make everyone to be healthy, indeed, we should have the concept that there is a right to health. It's not something you can say it's some social caring, that kind of subsidy. It's not like that, but this is the right. And honestly speaking, there are a lot of model already showing that no matter how you invest in the healthcare system, it cannot make people truly healthy. There are so many social economic factors, including education, whether you're employed or not, whether you can have a good job or not, whether you are safe in the community, that can make you healthy. And all of these are quite important for general public to understand about that. And so to me, I think health equity is something quite important, which includes social inclusion, and whether you are being able to have a healthy status, also including whether you can have access not to healthcare facility only, but also healthy space. Talking about green space, green air, whether you have a community network, whether you have the chance to enjoy those services, and also whether the primary care system also tackling the social determinant of health, and not just caring about your hypertension, diabetes only. And so this touched to the point about health in all policy. During COVID, Hong Kong is so quiet. And as Hedrick have said, we only have 4 people die so far with very little confirmed case. But we have quite high of mask wearing statistics. But is this enough? Yes, quite happy, everyone is peaceful at home. Indeed, it's not. Every epidemic or every disaster must expose something quite important is those vulnerable group. And also some people you may think that they are not belong to the public health task force, like the street cleaner, like those security guard, like those people who are doing delivery for any goods during this time of the lockdown. But do they have enough protection? Do they have enough knowledge? Do they have enough resources also to handle their own family? And so in Hong Kong, the underprivileged group indeed is facing the same problem have pointed out by the UN, like information access, there is a problem. They don't have enough resources or timing to source the protective kits. They cannot have access to the livelihood. A lot of people can have a home office, but how about the lower social class? Home office to them means unemployed. And job safety is a important thing. Education opportunity for those underprivileged children. They cannot have PC at home to go online or even have the Wi-Fi access. Of course, food security and about isolation and the mental health issue. So very quick is indeed health is something very related to the general public, related to architect, that whether we can create a space for people to engage, to enjoy. And I hope Healthy City could one day really come to Hong Kong, because Healthy City is a united effort by everyone in the city to involve all the stakeholders and have a lot of things is not related to healthcare system, but related to the community. 2 things I hope everyone can remember is all of us can contribute. And all of us should also to understand who suffer the most, and we try to help them. Thank you, everyone. I believe that health issue is a social issue, and we need a social solution to treat, and not only drugs, vaccine, or injection. Thank you.